Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. Middle of the week, so I've got a ladder match for you guys today. No extraneous messages from the community to dish out. So let's just crack on with the game. It's going to take place on Twin Rivers. Let's head on over to the game zone as the players are gating in and see how they're going to get on. Of course, Twin Rivers needs a great deal of communication or talk about the map, shall we say. Let's take a look at the players and their starting locations. Down here in the blue corner, we've got Frenzy. He's going Cybrin, opening first land, second air, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 P-gens. Generally means second air is going to get straight on with the bombers. Get enough power together for that, for some harassment. That seems to be the plan. The build order from Frenzy. And up here, DC is going in the red corner. UEF opening first land, second, third land, I think, and then air. So a lower priority, fewer P-gens, not going to be focusing on harassment quite as much. Probably going more defensive, working on interceptors first to cover that. Question is how much work can be done with those bombers first of all. And I did mention in the previous cast, I always thought it was funny that somehow it seems to work out the when it's a ladder match and it's a Cybrin versus a UEF, Cybrin always seems to be red and the UEF always seems to be blue. I was wondering if there was some clever little script that Zep put in or something like that that always put the colours that way, but no, nothing of the sort. It's just been luck and I haven't actually paid attention, which is probably always the more likely factor. And as you see today, of course, UEF are red, so that's all very interesting. Anyway, we've got a few scouts out for DC, heading down to the middle. Striker accompanying with it, and an engineer as well, heading for the reclaim. Of course, there are these transport wrecks down here as well, some mech marines, so a decent amount of reclaim to get. That will help you with your early eco. Nice to get another engineer out, see if you could bag these ones as well before Frenzy can get his hands on them. He will be aware of any movements like that, though. Of course, he's got a couple of moles here. Range isn't that huge on the mole, so he can't see them for the moment, but it'd be an easy thing to guard against anything going off that if he has units in the area. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, we've got a Mantis pushing up with yet another mole. That's going to go engineer hunting. And the first unit out of Frenzy's air factory is, in fact, a Prowler, T1 Inti for Cybrin. It's going to do a bit of scouting with it, so not going straight off the bat with any kind of harassment. Second unit's also an Inti, but third is going to be the bomber, and that's what he's going to use to hunt with. You can see the queue of factories spam that he's planning in front, but that Mantis grabbing just one kill over on the left-hand side before he and his accompanying mole get overwhelmed by a large group of strikers. Comparatively large, actually, I'd say, for this time in the game. Just 4 minutes gone, making a push down the left-hand side. And at the moment, nothing really available in the area for Frenzy to defend against. This could be a nasty factor early on in the game. Of course, he's got no intel coverage to know the extent of how much he's pushing down that left-hand side. Unusual, of course, as well. You usually expect the traditional attack to come just down this side, but he's actually engaging on both sides at the same time. Bomber out here has snagged one engineer already for Frenzy. Going to go around the back looking for more engineers. Nice little bit of micro there, or a miss on Frenzy's behalf means he doesn't grab that forward engineer, but he does grab the one in the back just before that rear mass extractor gets completed, so that's going to slow up the expansion of DC a little bit. But now he's got a striker-shaped problem, Frenzy, at the back of the base. Build capacity very vulnerable here indeed in building T1 power. Switches to a point defense. T1 point defense, will they get it up in time before they all go pop? That is the question. 2 units on build capacity down. Luckily for Frenzy, got some P-gens in the way, blocking some of those shots, but all of those engineers do go down just in time, though, for that PD to get finished off. There was an engineer down here as well that he was working on a PD up front, but he wanted to get the mass extractors first. I think it was a mistake. Should have gone for PD first, lock down this position. It's always what I would go for. And you force your player to come in with Lobos and at least range that at first. Slows down the attack on his right-hand side. He's now lost all 4 of these mass points, and I think he's probably going to lose that factory as well. The engineer bites the dust as it comes off the conveyor belt. Frenzy trying to funnel units right to deal with this spam down here. He's also had to withdraw his commander from the front. He leaves a very open power vacuum up here for Frenzy at the front. The DC doing very well on the map control indeed. Very aggressive early play, lots of spam. A lot more dangerous early pushing build order from him, I think. Frenzy finally making contact with his units with his ACU. DC not wanting to face off against the ACU, knows he can't win against those odds. Is going to head back onto the rear plateau, potentially to see if he can take out some more build capacity, hit some of these mexes if he can. He might just get in here to cause some trouble. There is an auto gun under construction, but that's not going to get finished in time. I don't think. Potentially it could. Potentially it's going to be close. And luckily for him, DC cuts right. He's going to go for the more vulnerable, statistically vulnerable mass point and any engineers over on this right hand side. But these two mass points up the front are doomed thanks to the fact that DC forced Frenzy to withdraw his commander. Now all of this is now in DC's hands, with the exception of this kind of small group of units up here from Frenzy managing to get a nice little run by. We have also got a drop going on now from Frenzy. He's making a play for the top island, going to drop one engineer off over there and another one off up top, and then he'll return with one more on board. The question is, where's that going? He's planning that for a drop right the way over this bottom island, right hand side. So being greedy, planning to go for both. There's a lot of interceptors in the air. The question is, how good is the intel? Not that good for the moment. He's going to make it past that group of air units, but serious problems on the right hand side. A large stream of units coming down there from DC. Moderate success though on the run by from Frenzy up top, and instead of pursuing, well, DC 100% sure what he was doing there, cut bottom and then move back up again. He's definitely going to try and finish off these Mantis, who stopped for a cup of tea in a very bad place. Never advised that at all. Going to push on towards these mass points, but rapidly decreasing in numbers. And to potentially be able to take out a couple of mass points though, at least that one's going to go down. Bomber harassing this group of units from DC, who's going to consolidate higher up on this right hand side nearer the ACU, and I've got to give it to Frenzy. He's done very well to fend off these assaults from DC. He's lost this area once, but he's regained it. He's lost a few mass points around here, but he's picked them back up again. Actually, considering that start from DC, Frenzy's done a nice job of not letting it affect him, and now a large group of units for both players amassing on this side of the map. Things looking a little bit healthier, although of course no ACU in the mix for Frenzy down here, so a large advantage up here for DC because his ACU is in the mix. He's currently on an upgrade though, looks like the right arm, so that's going to be the gun upgrade. There it goes. That's going to give him some decent range and firepower. Up here still these units are alive. A couple of prowlers landing in an ill-advised place. Could potentially pick up a third mass extractor, but they're too busy fleeing away. That's going to survive on 111 HP. Still prowlers landing in poorly designated locations. They're just going to get popped on the ground. And bam, thank you ma'am. Out they go from existence. And a nice little drop down here from DC. Obviously that earlier transport didn't make it, unless this is it, and he had his orders cancelled. He's now coming across as well, so Frenzy still making a play for the second side island as well. He's going to find it tough though. 3 engineers landed here for DC and virtually a factory up and running by the time this transport arrives. The question is, has DC noticed that? It's going to be out of visual range. It's not going to be, oh, it's not out of visual range, so it's just on the edge there. Interesting to see if he's been made aware of it. It's really hard when there's so much going on, but a large fight brewing in the middle. DC leading the attack with his ACU. Frenzy coming in to assist, but of course down on HP, only a 10,000 hit points versus 12,000 HP with the gun upgrade. It's a vastly more powerful machine that DC has got there. UEF ACU upgraded versus Cybran unupgraded, and this is looking very dangerous indeed. A large penetrating wave of units heading south now for DC, going after these mass points now at PD. Whilst helpful, probably not going to be able to contend with that much firepower. Spidering trails coming in from all directions, and that is lost once again. Nice push there from DC. In comes Frenzy to try and deal with it. Another drop of engineers coming in as well to help, and somehow that engineer is still alive. So DC focusing so hard on the battle in the middle, he's missed this engineer. And there is now a land factory in play with more engineers coming in as well. So this is by no means secured for DC. A decent amount of interceptors in the air for Frenzy. One bomber as well, a Zeus T1. Focusing on these this large body of T1 troops from DC, now heading north, trying to consolidate higher up. Could do with getting a little bit of more on the anti-air front, some archers in play. This air seems to be Frenzy's choice at the moment, but look at this success up here for Frenzy. He's had a nice little run by or two. Still all four of these mass points, this fifth one down here, 6th and 7th unobtained from DC, and 3 Mantis still alive heading into the rear bush. Sorry, a Hunter and 2 Mantis heading into the back. Now some vulnerable mass points, but luckily a few strikers in the back there guarding that rear section. Still that rear mass point hasn't been taken from the beginning, but we've got T2 units on the field for Frenzy. He's made the transition, and we've also got Cerberus turrets in play. Did that come from the ACU or not? Or was that the T2 engineer standing next to him? It was the T2 engineer. No T2 engineering suite on that ACU for Frenzy as of yet. So I'm going to have to focus on keeping those NGs alive. He's going to continue working on the Cerberus turrets, of which there are quite a few now. A nice little creep heading across the right-hand side of the map. So trying to anchor down his area. Frenzy trying to slow down these pushes from DC, which were pretty devastating in the last 5 to 10 minutes or so. Another Cerberus turret is being placed, although that's very far forward indeed, just as DC is encroaching with large bodies of units. Commander coming in to join the party. Frenzy right in the middle as well. Needs to be careful. It doesn't take many units to smash a unupgraded commander, remember. Take a look if Frenzy's got access to overcharge. He does not, still doesn't have any energy storage, and this is a time when he can really make use of it. Primarily though, the target is not the commander at the moment from DC. He's going after the Cerberus turrets, wants to break this position more than going to kill right now. He's perhaps focusing on Frenzy's ACU with his commander. Frenzy getting quite low now, down to 5,000 HP. Be a little bit careful, going very low indeed. He's got some hoplites in the area that's going to help thin out some of these units, but DC looking like he's sensing blood, is going all out attack with his ACU now down into the red, 2,300 hit points, and being pursued. Frenzy's backing away, trying to get around the edge of this rock, but there's also more strikers. Where on earth did they come from? Must have been hiding around here or come the other side around the rock. Down to 800 hit points. Gets a beautiful rank of veterancy there as he passes 21. And gonna be saved. I don't believe it. And now DC looking very isolated indeed. Surely he must turn around. He's gonna swap some of these units. Some Vipers in the mix. So many Cerberus turrets firing away. Do like these new graphics. They seem to be a lot better. Whatever tweak they've done, they don't miss on the lateral movement anymore like they used to do. Seem to hit stuff. Good old Cerberus is actually working. Frenzy's still running for his life. 2,300 hit points. Down to 7,600 though. DC needs to be a little bit careful, and he's not stopping for anyone. He is like the Terminator. He's trying to gun this guy down, head him off at the pass. Frenzy could do a lot worse than to cut right. He's got some PD there now going down. He's not currently doing it. There's one PD in place with which he could take shelter. DC, remember, hasn't got a great deal of hit points himself. I think you only need to get your opponent down to 2,500 to force a draw if your commander goes Nova within the right proximity. So if you're close enough to him, I think that's the hit point limit. Somebody probably will be able to correct me. I keep forgetting these statistics, even though they're very important. But look at this stream of units from DC. Just basically clicked and pointed down to rally down here to chase this ACU down of Frenzies, who's actually back up to 3,200 HP. Looking too badly at all, considering a large line of T1 PD being deployed. Actually going to knock that up a notch to regular speed. DC wants to end it now, come what may, but needs to be really careful. He's very overextended indeed. And what's more, a lot of these troops are going to get caught by this second line of T1 PD, and they're in fact having to head back. So DC is now cut off. His lines of supply are cut. Nice overcharge there, bags these engineers. He's going to stop any more PD going down. PD focusing in on Commander. What's left of it promptly gets sniped. And Frenzy is not having any of it. Comes in with a T2 transport, a Dragonfly, and is going to lift his commander away to safety. No aircraft on the map for DC, and Frenzy's managed to bag both of the side islands while all of this commotion has been going on. And now it's DC who's completely cut off. I don't believe it. He has forced himself into this position. He wanted to go for an early kill as we pass 17 minutes. He's working on some air cleaners to deal with these renegades, which are causing him all kinds of headaches. He's down to around just under 6,000 HP. He's going to get that air cleaner online. Surely they're going to have to switch target and go for that air cleaner, which is what they're going to do. Generally, T2 flak destroys T2 gunships, though. And that renegade is going to bug out on around 16 hit points. Another air cleaner under production from DC. It's all well and good, but he is now stuck on this plateau and not healthy at all. He's down to just 6,000 hit points. Got himself into a really sticky situation. He's burrowing in as best he can. He queued up a shield gen there, but he's actually going to rebuild that air cleaner that just went down. There's not actually any units in the area now, so this is the most peculiar situation. Look at this, all in the hands of DC up here, but Frenzy looking very strong indeed on eco now. 95 plays 59, and DC trapped behind enemy lines with his ACU right at the back here. He's going to have to turtle like crazy or somehow figure out a way of getting a transport in here to evacuate his ACU, but I don't know how he's going to do it. There's far too many interceptors in the air. Is he working on any kind of air? He's got some T2 air. We've seen some Janus flying around, the fighter bomber. He needs to build more factories. How's he actually doing on eco? He's floating quite a bit of mass, but he's low on power, so he needs to sort that out. But that's really tough considering he is now going to be fighting for his life. You know Frenzy is going to try and zone him down as best he can. Gets Triad online. That's going to go wailing away on that PD up on the side there. It's going to potentially offer him some alleviation, but he's still trying to break through with some units on this right-hand side, but he's going to have to get an awful lot of Lobos together to deal with this line of T1 PD that's been constructed from Frenzy. And of course he's got to do all of this on less income than Frenzy's got. Secured both these side islands in the carnage. Frenzy up here, happy as Larry on 6,300 HP. Very safe indeed. This is going to be the most peculiar thing ever, but a whole bunch of Corsairs, fighter bombers for Cybran coming in, and DC is going to go and try and snipe the commander. He's going to try and do anything he can. He's building tactical missile launchers, but the shield collapses. He's only got one T2 shield, remember, and now he's under fire. It's going to be really difficult to pull this off. Remember, he was low on power, and shield gens plus tac missile launchers is going to take a lot of power. It looks like he's all out of ideas. He circles left and right. Corsairs still flying over top, overhead, going for him. He gets back under the shield, but that's down to around 2,000 HP on actual shield gen resistance. Aloha still back under construction. He can snipe the commander. He might be able to do something, but the shield has collapsed. What on earth is he going to do now? Down to 5,000 HP. And of course, he's got all of these Vipers on him as well, causing far too much trouble. Finally, Corsair goes down. But a whole nother lot come in, and that takes him down to 1,400 hit points. He's in a very bad way, microing furiously left and right, trying to dodge this Viper fire that's been homing in on the commander. Another volley comes down, 800 hit points. Tries to get another T2 shield gen up, 100 hit points. Oh my goodness me. Engineers take over the construction of that shield gen. Down to 300 once again. He's got to continuously move, otherwise these Vipers are going to home in on him. He doesn't take too many missiles to finish him off. He's got to move and build and move and build. That is going to be the only way he's going to get out of this. He's back up to around 800 HP. Got to move again though, goodness me, but the missiles are inside the shield and down he goes just as it blinks online. Valiant effort, DC. Oh my goodness, if you ever saw a game where being angry at missing an ACU kill will get you killed, that is an example. DC should have let Frenzy go. He was ahead at that time. If he'd have pulled back and focused in on grabbing this side island and not been so all-out attack, he could have pulled that in a win, but wasn't to be. Beautiful victory there from Frenzy, taking advantage. Just a 21-minute game. I was running that at normal and sometimes below speed for the duration because there was so much going on. That was really tense. Love it. Hope you guys did too. As always, more to come in the immediate future. But in the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile signing out.